In a week that has seen Senegal's constitutional court confirm Macky Sall's re-election and Kamaru Usman, aka the Nigerian Nightmare, became the first African crowned as a UFC champion. Africa Focus starts now. Here's a peek into the stories set for today.
New correctional facility. Somalia inaugurates prison and court complex. Lost at sea. Senegalese families wait to mourn migrants lost in the high seas. Finally, women in Malagasy train as solar technicians, lighting up whole villages.
I'm Lenny Rashid, and our sign language interpreter is Teresia Washira. Here's what's made the headlines this past week on the African continent.
Hundreds of Algerians living in Paris gathered for a protest on Sunday at Place de la République Square to demand that Algerian President Abdelaziz Bouteflika drops plans of standing for a fifth term after 6 years of his near-total absence from public life. Protesters said that they were not only demonstrating against Bouteflika, but the entire current political system, which they deemed unfit to govern and want replaced with a new one. In a rare wave of public dissent, Algerians have been taken to the streets in Algeria since rallies calling on him to step down began 10 days ago. 82-year-old Bouteflika, in shaky health for years, was due to submit his official election papers at the Constitutional Council in Algiers on Sunday, the deadline for candidates. Opponents say that Bouteflika is no longer fit to lead, citing his poor health and what they call chronic corruption and lack of economic reforms to tackle unemployment that exists 25% among people under the age of 30. Rwandan director Joel Kerekezi, The Mercy of the Jungle, scored Best Film at Africa's Top Film Festival following a fierce debate about gender equality and sexual aggression in the continent's movie industry. The film was among 20 vying for the top Golden Stallion of Yenenga Award at the Pan-African Film and Television Festival of Ouagadougou. A road movie focusing on the wars in Democratic Republic of Congo through the eyes of two soldiers lost in the jungle, it also picked up the Best Actor award of the Belgian Mark Zinga. Egyptian director Khalid Youssouf won second prize for his drama Karma, while that prize went to Tunisia's Ben Homond for fatwa about a father who discovered that his dead son had been a jihadist. In the half-century since it was established, FESPACO has never awarded its top prize to a female director, a fact that faced uncomfortable scrutiny during the week-long event. Only 4 of the films in the competition at the festival were directed by women. Armed assailants attacked an Ebola treatment center in Butembo, East Democratic Republic of Congo, setting off a fire and becoming embroiled in an extended gun battle with security forces, health ministry officials said. French medical charity Médecins Sans Frontières, which runs the Butembo Center, together with the ministry, condemned the attack and said its efforts were focused on the immediate safety of patients and staff. MSF confirmed it was suspending its activities in Butembo until further notice. 38 suspected Ebola patients and 12 confirmed cases were in Butembo Center at the time of the attack. 4 of the patients with confirmed cases filed are being looked for. None of the patients who have been accounted for was injured, nor any staff members. Aid workers have faced mistrust in some areas as they work to contain an Ebola outbreak. The attack in the city of Butembo was the second in Congo's Ebola hit east this week. On Sunday, 24th of February, unidentified assailants set fire to a treatment center in the town of Katwa, resulting in the death of a nurse.
Despite a huge emergency vaccination program, more than 900 children and young adults have succumbed to measles in Madagascar since last October. Currently, there are over 66,000 infections in the island nation. Madagascar is among Africa's poorest countries, and in 2017, only 58% of the population had been vaccinated against measles.
The UN Children's Agency says just 10 countries were responsible for 3/4 of a global surge in measles cases last year, including one of the world's richest nations, France. 98 countries reported more measles cases in 2018 compared with 2017. The world body warns that conflict, complacency, and the growing anti-vaccine movement threatens to undo decades of work to tame the disease.
Malnutrition paves the way for measles, and most severe cases of measles are often reported in children who are malnourished.
Measles is more contagious than tuberculosis or Ebola, yet it is eminently preventable with the vaccine. But the World Health Organization last year said measles cases worldwide had soared nearly 50% in 2018, killing around 136,000 people. Ukraine, the Philippines and Brazil saw the largest year-on-year increases.
Measles has always been considered as a common disease. People use decoctions. The population has somewhat neglected the virulence of measles, and they only come to hospital when it's at a really complicated stage.
The resurgence of the disease in some countries has been linked to medically baseless claims linking the measles vaccine to autism, which have been spread in part on social media by members of the so-called anti-vax movement.
We had porters and companions with us who walked to the main road. Then they came back and we continued on foot to the hospital. Carriers were needed to transport the child because a single person cannot carry her here, and there was luggage to carry as well. There were many people accompanying us because the road is long until the main road.
Yemen featured on UNICEF's top 10 list of countries with the largest increase in measles cases last year, with a 316% hike from 2,101 cases in 2017 to 8,742 cases in 2018.
Somalia's justice and correction system received a significant boost following the opening of a new prison and court complex in Mogadishu. The new court complex will provide the country's judiciary with the much-needed infrastructure to conduct trials in a safe and secure environment.
The project that is being implemented in 3 phases by the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime, with the support of the United Nations Office for Project Services, is funded by the governments of Denmark, the Netherlands and the United Kingdom. Phase 1 of the project has been completed and comprises of a courtroom, a 250-bed high-security prison block, and accommodation for judges, prosecutors and lawyers during trial process.
I hope this facility will benefit those who have been misled to do wrong, and will also make the work of the judiciary and the custodial corps easier. We thank our development partners and hope we will work together in other projects similar to this one, which are tangible and will benefit the people of Somalia.
Construction works are already underway for the second phase, which will involve the erection of more prison blocks and a second courtroom.
Along with impressive buildings we have seen today comes the technical assistance and advisory services and training support that the Chief Justice and Attorney General require to ensure that trials are fair and efficient, and that the Commission of Prisons requires to ensure his prisons are kept in secure and humane condition.
We believe that the MPCC has transformational potential for Somalia when it comes to rule of law, countering terrorism and preventing violent extremism. Moreover, it will set new standards for human rights compliance in Somali prisons. In that sense, I'm very confident that this facility will constitute another piece of the puzzle towards peace and stability in Somalia.
In addition to building a facility that is compliant with the UN standard minimum rules for the treatment of prisoners, UNODC will also provide technical assistance and training to judicial staff to ensure that trials are fair and efficient.
Globally, the number of migrants losing their lives at sea is in the thousands, sailing for Europe in search of solace from the conditions in the countries that they live in. Many never make it and their bodies are washed ashore. Experts in Senegal say that identifying the bodies is difficult, which means that families who haven't heard from their loved ones find it difficult to mourn.
A dozen dugout canoes carrying fish off the coastal villages of Gandiol in Senegal. But in April last year, a similar boat carrying Senegalese migrants sank and the bodies were washed ashore.
Those who live in the area, they noticed that the 2 or 3 children that were dead were from Gandiol. The survivors confirmed that the children who were with them were among the missing. They informed the parents. That's how we identified them.
Migrants' boats from Gambia and Senegal frequently embark on perilous journeys towards the gateway to Europe, the Canary Islands, but many don't reach their destination.
There are always bodies that we are unable to identify. We immediately call the police and the firemen who take them away.
Clothes, jewelry, and lucky charms are used to identify the bodies, a crucial step in allowing families to mourn their missing loved ones. Kadi Dear remembers when her husband left for Spain in 2006. 5 months later, after receiving no word from him, she recognized a symbolic religious ceremony.
Many families haven't been able to mourn yet because they haven't heard from those who left. They still hope they will come home again one day.
The Red Cross holds therapy groups in the region to support mourning families, and pictures of missing loved ones are posted online in hope that one day they will be found.
Coming up after the break.
Singing along, the Soweto Gospel Choir rides high after Grammy win.
Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. Keep it switched. Welcome back to Africa Focus. In case you've just joined us, today's sign language interpreter is Teresia Washira. Now, in 2016, thanks to a partnership between the NGO Wild White Fund and Barefoot College, 4 women from the remote village of Ambakivao in the west of Madagascar left for India to become solar technicians. Back in their village, after 6 months of training, they are now able to install, repair, and maintain the photovoltaic panels.
Up until the end of 2017, this isolated fishing village in western Madagascar had no access to electricity. Yolanda and her grandchildren used oil lamps as their light source.
First, there wasn't enough light. We couldn't work properly. And then the smoke made us sick. The children did not stop coughing, and they had blackened nostrils.
Today, nearly 200 homes are equipped with solar panels, and it is Yolanda and 3 other women from the village who install and repair the equipment, a skill acquired in India where they were trained as solar technicians.
When we left, I was a little scared because we didn't know this country. What impressed me most were the lights. It was really dazzling to see all those lights in India. We had lights on all the time, non-stop. The fan ran all day long, as did the electricity. There was no power failure.
The program has changed the lives of the villagers, who can now continue to study, work, or cook in the evenings. Solar energy can also help increase security.
There have already been 2 deaths here. They were shot dead. That's why we wanted to install outside lighting to see the bandits from afar and be able to escape in time or prepare.
By 2030, the project plans to supply 630,000 households with solar energy, a big step forward for a country where 94% of the population is still without electricity.
Late last month, Sierra Leone declared the chimpanzee as the country's national icon. Between 1990 and 2014, the population of the western chimpanzee reduced by 80% to about 55,000, still living in the wild. Sierra Leone accounts for about 10% of this number. 84-year-old Jane Goodall helped set up the country's only chimpanzee sanctuary in the 90s. The British primatologist was back at the facility to see the efforts that the Takugama Chimpanzee Sanctuary is making in protecting the primate.
A lot has changed in the 27 years since Dr. Jane Goodall last visited Sierra Leone. The country's chimpanzees have survived war, plague and widespread environmental degradation, thanks in large part to an idea the world's foremost primatologist shared with a friend nearly 3 decades ago.
Well, what it takes to protect the chimpanzees is somebody with passion and heart to create a sanctuary as Bala has created Takugama, and also to bring this up to the attention of the government so that there's help from the government in protecting chimpanzees.
The Takugama Chimpanzee Sanctuary was founded in 1992 by Goodall's longtime friend Bala Amarase Karan alongside his wife in 1992. Sierra Leone has one of the highest concentrations of chimpanzees in the world. Today, Takugama is internationally recognized for being the only facility of its kind in the country, rehabilitating chimps rescued from captivity before eventually being released back into the wild. The sanctuary has also become Sierra Leone's premier voice for wildlife protection and environmental education, as well as leading ecotourism destination. Goodall, who rose to fame in the 1960s through her groundbreaking study of chimpanzees in East Africa, is visiting Sierra Leone for 3 days to highlight the country's burgeoning conservationist movement while discussing the importance of ecotourism projects like Takugama in protecting wildlife populations from the impacts of global warming.
Can't protect chimpanzees without protecting the forest. Protecting the forest is one of the key ways of reducing the effects of climate change, because forests absorb carbon dioxide and they give us oxygen, they provide clean water and clean air. And if all around the world the importance of protecting and restoring forests was understood, that would go a long way towards mitigating the effects of climate change.
According to FAO figures, Sierra Leone's forest cover decreased by nearly 10% from 1990 to 2005, mostly due to the expansion of human settlements. Goodall believes that ecotourism, as long as it comes hand in glove with increased educational campaigns, could play a large part in helping Sierra Leoneans develop a culture of forest protection. Her foundation has helped educate more than 300 young people in the country about the importance of conservation and sustainable development.
As far as I know, Sierra Leone is the first country to declare the chimpanzee as its national animal. And I think this is very exciting because, you know, chimpanzees are our closest living relatives. We have this incredible sanctuary, which is definitely one of the very best in Africa. I'm not going to say it's the best, but it's one of the best. And so when people know that this is the national animal, that gives it an added importance and will help the authorities to clamp down on the illegal poaching, hunting of.
Sierra Leone's President Julius Maada Bio presented Goodall with the Order of the Rokel, Sierra Leone's highest civilian award, in honor of her lifelong commitment to protecting West African chimpanzees, the only critically endangered subspecies of chimp.
Thank you very much for your dedication and hard work around the world. We will always support you and we will do exactly what we can. I am a lay environmentalist myself, and I promise that I will join my colleagues who are active in supporting wildlife around the world so that we can at least stop them from extinction. Thank you so much for accepting our honor. Thank you.
Sierra Leone is home to about 10% of an estimated 55,000 still living wild, according to the American Journal of Primatology.
When the Soweto Gospel Choir was named as winner of the Grammy for Best World Music Album, it earned the ensemble a place in music's history books. But what was the inspiration behind their 12-track tribute to Nelson Mandela album called Freedom? Let's find out.
In Johannesburg, the rhythmic sound of feet and hands tapping in unison fills the hall where the choir members practice their routines. 2 rows of about 20 men and women between the ages of 24 and 50 harmonize, backed by Zambe, a skin-covered drum. Owing to its surging popularity, the group has split into 3 identical units to meet the insatiable global demand for its performances. When the Soweto Gospel Choir was named as winner of the Grammy for the Best World Music Album, it immediately earned the group a place in the music history books. Announced by Questlove, drummer from the US hip-hop band The Roots, the award ignited an explosion of excitement among the South African singers.
He was like, and the winner is free, like freedom. When he said Soweto, go ahead, and we jumped out. Like, it took long, like, yo. And then we jumped out, and the very humbling part is that when everybody gets to celebrate you and they stand up and they applaud you, That was amazing.
Their album, dubbed Freedom, a 12-track tribute to Nelson Mandela release to mark his 100th birthday, is what earned the 17-year-old choir their third Grammy, adding to awards which include an Emmy and a debut album dubbed Voices from Heaven, which reached #1 on Billboard's World Music Chart.
It was the 100th centenary of Nelson Mandela. So everyone in the world actually was caught an attention in a way that South Africa is celebrating something very special. So that's where the idea started. That's where we had to go back to Soweto and find out what happened back in the days and bring it to the world.
Much of the choir's captivating songs are composed and arranged in indigenous South African languages including Zulu, Xhosa, and even Afrikaans. Interestingly, some of their biggest audiences are in Europe and America. Soweto became a worldwide symbol of resistance during apartheid, and it's where the group has been based since it was founded in 2002.
Our signature sound, it's something simple. It's something that it's raw. It's something that it's proudly South African. It's something that it comes from the streets of Soweto.
Freedom album, it was a celebration of Nelson Mandela and celebration of the unsung and fallen heroes. So it was in that concept. I chose songs that spoke about Mandela. I chose songs that spoke about Stephen Biko. I chose songs that spoke about our late musicians like Amir Makeba, who was an activist as well.
The brightly dressed singers have collaborated with several international artists including Celine Dion, Chance the Rapper, and also worked with Peter Gabriel on the song Down to Earth from the 2008 sci-fi blockbuster Wall-E. The track went on to win a Grammy in the Best Movie Song category.
On Africa Focus, we love hearing from you. You can get interactive with us on our various social media pages. Remember, you can view this program along with our wide array of other programs on DSTV channel 268. On behalf of the entire team here on Africa Focus, thank you for keeping us company on this exciting of journeys. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.